Okay, and welcome to this week's Street Talk bit of the podcast. I think for the benefit of anybody listening on YouTube this week who doesn't get the beginning bit of the podcast, we're hot and tired this week. So we might be feeling a little bit hot and tired, sounding a little bit hot and tired in our commentary of this week's Coronation Street. We'll do the best we can, but it's been a bit of a doodally week for both of us. So let's see how it goes. Now, we have got 6 stories to talk about this week. Obviously, the big one, the wedding storyline. Gemma, we predicted last week. I can't remember what we said. I think we both agreed that they wouldn't actually get married, didn't we? What did you say?
I said they'd get married.
Did you?
Yeah, I
said
did.
They would. Well, they did, didn't they? But
yeah, I was right.
But
and you were right.
We were both kind of right in a way.
I was not kind of right. I was right.
We didn't, unfortunately, get the line, "It's not you, it's Mimi," although it was so close today, because we did get an "It's not you, it's me."
Mimi was maligned this week.
Why?
Because everyone was blaming her and she didn't do anything wrong. Being posh isn't a crime. I know this country, sometimes it kind of feels like it is.
Yeah.
They're all in charge, but it's also a crime to be posh. Explain that. You can't.
Up next, we will talk about the Along Came a Spider storyline, followed by, now what's the reference here, Gemma? Love, Death and Robots.
That's a reference to the Netflix show Love, Death and Robots.
Yes, it is. Well done. We've also got a couple of tiny storylines. I think we called it Tile Street before, didn't we? About Steve's roofing tiles. I don't know where they're going with this story.
Brilliant.
Literally, I've got no clue.
Fun, Michael.
Shut up. We got the Speed Dial story. I haven't got a storyline title.
That's a fun in itself. You don't need a title for it.
Very true. Did you see? You did see, because I pointed it out for you, but listeners, did you see that they used the old Speed Dial logo in one of the ident thingies for coming out for the advert break?
What a ridiculous blunder.
Who overlooked that one?
Utterly unwatchable.
Out on the streets.
Couldn't follow the story after that.
And we did also have the summer holiday storyline a little bit. Some people will be pleased to hear that Summer's robot has overheated this week as well. He won't be joining us.
We've definitely had some feedback.
We did have some feedback about Summer's robot.
Don't.
We still had more people that like Summer's robot, but I don't know.
Very divisive figure.
We're starting to have an anti-Summer's robot rebellion, but I don't know. I've seen so many science fiction things.
Robots rebellion. Get it?
I have.
It's a Game of Thrones reference.
Is it?
Yeah, you didn't get it, did you?
You don't want to anger the robots, do you? Because they'll take over. But we will not be hearing from Summer's robot this week. Maybe again, it depends. Maybe its circuit boards are all melted. Gemma, you said you wanted to do the "It's not you, it's Mimi" storyline, so I'm going to just sit back, wake me up when we get to the end. Off you go. What's happened this week?
So on Monday, Mimi hurt her hip last week, falling over the dog.
Apparently. See, we don't know whether she actually did, because we didn't see it. Poor Cerberus. I mean, we said that Mimi's been maligned this week, and I know Cerberus was vindicated for the whole wine on the bridesmaid dress thing this week, and Hope admitted it was her. But did Cerberus actually trip up Mimi, or who knows?
Wow.
We'll never know. It's an unresolved mystery of Coronation Street.
Everybody keeps saying it can't possibly have been Cerberus, because when everyone entered the room, he was lying down.
I know.
Looking innocent.
Just looking very innocent.
Can I just point out that greyhounds are notoriously fast?
Oh, good point. Very good point. That's what makes them such great criminals.
I don't think they're well known for being criminals. So she's relishing being waited on hand and foot. But Evelyn reckons she's trying to sabotage the wedding. Mimi's also ordered some wine, because she doesn't think the venue's stuff is going to be up to snuff. Well, the bistro wine. And she sees the bridesmaid's dress, and she says to Evelyn that Hope has a point when she says she doesn't like it.
What did you think of the bridesmaids' dresses?
They were nice. I thought they were fine.
I didn't really like the colour. What were they? Kind of beigey, tanny brown. You don't make.
They weren't brown. They were like
light
cream.
Brown. I didn't think that they were that great.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know what you expect from little girls.
That's true. I mean, I suppose that just for the little kids it was all right, but
I was a bridesmaid when I was little, and I can tell you that the bridesmaid dress that I wore was nowhere near as nice as this one.
What was it?
It was like a bubblegum pink.
Yeah.
It was.
Are there photos, Gemma?
There are, yeah.
What?
I don't know where they are though.
Oh my gosh, I need to see this and post it online. That reminds me. Sorry, no, go on.
Go on. No.
I'm just saying, nobody's written in offering like a massive donation to get a video of you drunk on a honeymoon.
Oh, that's good.
You're
That's
lucky.
right,
That. What about Gemma in a pink fluffy bridesmaid dress when she was little?
So Mimi's ordered this wine.
No, what was the rest of your dress? I interrupted you.
I'm pretty sure it had a hoop under it. So the dress went out, and it had a big full skirt, and it had a frill around the bottom, like in the same fabric. And then it also had full-length sleeves that were puffed out, and they sort of nipped in at the wrist, and then there was another flary hem around the wrist as well. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure that was it, but I was such a nerdy little.
It was the 80s. I think we can let you off.
I know, but it didn't suit me at all because I was this little nerdy glasses kid with this like ridiculous. It kind of looked a bit like Princess Diana's in my mind. But
probably in the mind of the person who bought it as well.
It was my godmother.
Just like Lady Di.
My godmother, she was called Dot.
Oh.
Yeah. Mimi doesn't think the bistro's fare is good enough, and then she says, I can see why Hope doesn't like these bridesmaid dresses. Now this is interesting because a lot of people made a bit of an issue out of Hope not liking this dress. Saying, what does that mean? What does it mean? Does Hope have, what's Hope saying here? She literally didn't want her mum to get married. That was it. It wasn't really about the dress.
Yes, it could be actually. So
Evelyn's like, let's just be friends. Let's open a bottle. Let's toast the happy couple.
No, I think it's Mimi that wants to do that.
And then Evelyn begrudgingly accepts. Meanwhile, Fiz is letting off a bit of steam about Mimi to Tyrone in the cafe. I tell you what. Fiz made so many mistakes this week. If I was Phill, I'd be quite unhappy with her because she was treating Tyrone like they were just best friends.
Yeah.
When actually that's not the relationship that they had at all, and it really winds me up because I really think that Fiz could have been happy with Phill.
I think she could have been as well, but
she didn't give him a chance. I think it's really mean.
Didn't give Phill a chance?
No.
She didn't marry him.
Yeah, but then she went, I don't like this. So even give it a day. Anyway, Evelyn and Mimi are chatting later, and Mimi's like, mother was a snob as well. And
that was funny.
And she also says that she likes Fiz's work ethic and pre-Raphaelite curls, but I can't stand her broad Mancunian vowels. And Evelyn's not happy about this at all. She takes a bit of offence. Then when she comes back into the room, Mimi's busy cleaning the wine off of the bridesmaid dresses, and she says, look, I came down and it was like this, and it was probably Cerberus again. Cerberus is in the corner going, whereas I touched a drink of a drop.
With that bit,
wine at all.
The bit, that broad Mancunian vowels bit was funny because that let then when Evelyn got up, she was like, "Here back on lass, I've got a lot of washing out on land. Happen I'd best get it in." That was
was really funny.
Maureen Littman was just brilliant.
Can I just say it really,
and whoever it is that plays Mimi, I should have found out.
Felt like she enjoyed playing off of Mimi.
Oh, but they were so good together.
They
what a double
absolutely
act.
Perfect.
I've got a feeling that when Mimi was in it back at Christmas time, just before Christmas last year, we might have said, what wouldn't it have been good if we could have seen Mimi and Evelyn together? I'm not sure whether they had. No, they didn't have scenes together then, or did they? I can't remember. But I think we made a point of saying on the podcast these two would be absolutely brilliant on screen together, and this week just proved what an amazing double act that they would be. And I think it's possibly fair to say that we've maybe seen the last of Mimi.
Depends on whether Phill gives in. Shouldn't do.
I would absolutely love it if Mimi could stay. I mean, I think that we need a story where she falls on hard times or something and has to move up to Weatherfield. And can you just imagine the two of them together in the pub? Evelyn needs a friend. They could be the new Ina, Minnie, Martha, couldn't it? Except it's just a duo. I would very, very, very much love the two old women in the snug to be brought back. Build a snug for it.
It would be so funny if Mimi and Evelyn were sitting in the snug gossiping, and then along comes Rita and she sits down and she's like, oh, let me tell you some words of wisdom. And then Evelyn and Mimi just take their drinks and leave. So, there's wine everywhere. Evelyn doesn't believe her, and she thinks that Mimi is trying to sabotage the wedding. And then Fiz comes in, and Evelyn tells her what's happened, and she says, look, don't worry about it. It will be fine. It will definitely come out. I'm taking them to cleaners in Tile Street later. And Mimi's like, it was the dog.
Story, Steve's story.
And Evelyn says that Mimi did it. Phill comes back in, and Fiz tells him all about what's going on. And he takes his mum's side and says, oh, she's old and vulnerable and you need to cut her a bit of slack. But then Fiz, he kind of walks off, and then Fiz chases him outside. And then somebody turns up who's quite exciting, and it's Camilla, his ex-wife. And she's like, hello, I've come down up to Manchester. I just wanted to see how Pip was.
That was great.
And she's all charming and she's got an amazing outfit, and Fiz is a bit worried. She's got a twilly.
Yeah, what was a twilly again? I remember.
It's a very thin. It's a very thin silk scarf that you can wrap around your neck, or you can wrap it around the handle of your handbag.
Do you have one?
I don't, but the best ones are from Hermes, and they're about £150 each. So not too expensive. She wants a word with Phil. And Fiz is a bit worried about this, but Phil takes Camilla home and they're interrupted by Evelyn, and Camilla makes a comment about the hotel that she's staying in. She swans off. This was quite interesting because I thought that Mimi said she couldn't find a hotel, but
I can't remember.
Tyrone finds Fiz on Maxine's bench and she tells him what's happened. The dry cleaners aren't particularly convinced that they can get this wine out. And he says it's going to go fine. And she's like, freaking out. This woman, she's so posh and what does Phil see in me when, Camilla's like this? And he says, look, no way she's a patch on you. Phil's hit the jackpot with you. And...
Come on, breathe. You can do it.
Then... Mimi and Evelyn are talking, and Mimi's like, I can assure you I am just as happy with Phil marrying Fiz as I was with him and Camilla. And Evelyn's like, no, you've called Camilla here, you've asked her to come. And she's like, no, I would never, oh my goodness. So they start looking,
Yeah, they're squaring off against each other.
And Mimi's like, look, as long as Phil's happy, I'm happy. And she huffs off to have a bath. And then Evelyn kicks the crutch out from underneath her. She falls over just as Fiz and Phill come in. And obviously, Phil's a bit upset about this. Kevin tells Tyrone that he needs to tell Fiz how he feels. He doesn't want any regrets come Friday. And I don't think that Kevin thinks this is a good idea, but he doesn't manage to talk him out of it. Later on, Fiz tried to get out of Phil what Camilla wanted, but he's like, I don't know. Then there's the knock at the door, and it's Tyrone, and he's like gonna confess.
Yeah.
And then he changes his mind.
He says, I thought that Kevin was telling Tyrone that he does need to say something.
Oh, I don't know then. You didn't write it down.
Kevin tells Tyrone he needs to tell Fiz how he feels. Can't be any clearer than that.
But sometimes that could be the other way around, couldn't it? Okay, so Kevin says, you need to tell him how you feel. You need to tell her how you feel. Take advice from me. I have done everything. I've not put a foot wrong my whole life.
I've had so many dramatic... I've been in lots of dramatic wedding storylines. I know how to get... Ty.
If you want a scene, this is what you got to do. So, he turns up at the door and he's about to leave, but before he does, he says, no, I have to tell you this. Phil is a top bloke, but I still love you and I think you still love me. And then Fiz says, no, I'm marrying Phil. And Tyrone says, think about it. And then he leaves. And she does have a think. She has a long think, doesn't she?
Yes. Takes a bit too long to come to a conclusion.
Probably a bit too long.
Maybe could have come up with it a little bit earlier.
I say you've got to set a cut-off point for thinking.
When you marry someone else.
An hour. Give yourself an hour. If you haven't thought it through enough, just forget it. On Wednesday, Fiz cajoles Evelyn into apologising to Mimi for accidentally kicking her crutch. And Mimi's like, that wasn't an accident. Also, it definitely wasn't me who contacted Camilla. Please, can you invite me to your hen do? And Fiz can't really say no. Then Fiz's phone rings and it's Tyrone. And she's looking a bit awkward and what's the word, anxious. But she cancels the call. Then she goes round and sees Tyrone and tells him, nothing's changed. I'm still marrying Phil. And she tells him she'll always love him, but she can't be with him. And Tyrone's like, no, we're special. And she says, you had my heart once, but I can't trust you with it again. And I love that line. If only she'd listened to herself. She said, if you love me, you'll let me go. Fiz and Maria are getting in their hen do outfits. Camilla joins in. She turns up as well. And Fiz is getting ready to go, and she kind of gives a wistful look to Tyrone in the garage being so manly before scurrying off after them at the Rovers, where the party kicks off. Fiz and Evelyn are there. Maria does a game of Mr. and Mrs. And Fiz does pretty well with the questions about Phil. Camilla's getting her nose put out of joint, but then she gets one of the questions right, which
about Phil's favourite TV show, yeah.
because Fiz says his favourite TV show is on Beezy, and actually Camilla says it's CSI Miami. What random. Whose favourite show is CSI Miami, for goodness sake? Mimi's like, Zombiesy? What kind of a hooligan watches a show like that? Then it turns to we cut
I think
to Tyrone.
the answer to that is everybody who lives on Coronation Street.
I know that Sally and Sally loves it. I can't remember if Tim likes it.
Yeah,
or
I think
not.
he did. I think Sally. I thought Sally was scared of it. I can't remember. Abby was watching it as well, wasn't she?
I love the fact that Zombiesy is like the Game of Thrones of Weatherfield.
It's a thing now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
love it.
like that they brought it back because it's been a few years since Zombiesy has been mentioned. I think, and it was quite fun that we actually got to see it. Like that was a brilliant cut going to Tyrone with the DVD case, going, oh brilliant! I can't wait to sit and watch this. And we got to see like the intro sequence for it. So well done, graphics people at Corrie who put that together.
And
I did feel it got overused a little bit during the week.
No, I loved it. And there was also a bit where you got to see like somebody running through the woods. Like, well, we can only imagine what kind of adventures they get up to in the world of Zombiesy. Wouldn't it surprise everyone if it wasn't actually about zombies?
I think it should have been somebody walking through the woods and then they come across the grave of Rick Neelan and then zombie Rick Neelan pops out of the ground.
This would be a great way of reintroducing some of the characters in Coronation Street who've died.
Yeah.
Just have like Charlie D'Amelio starring Charlie D'Amelio.
I wouldn't say no to that.
Just everyone's favourite Zombiesy character, and then he comes to visit the street, and I was like, wow, he looks just like him, man. Oh, Toya, are you sad?
She's moved on, Gemma. Spider. Who needs Imran, she said.
So he's watching Zombiesy. Well, he would be if he could find the bloody remote. The remote doesn't have any batteries. So he goes to change them, and then he sees a picture of his happy family that he's ruined and looks sad. Then Hope comes downstairs and she refuses to go to bed, and he gets mad at her and takes Phil's tablet off of her. Then we get Phill.
That's a clue, everybody.
Phill goes to speed dial for his stag do with his one friend.
His one friend. Which is kind of sad, but I only had 2 people on my stag do, so I'm only one person better than Phill.
But Phil's a good bloke.
He is a top bloke, isn't he?
He's a top bloke.
So top.
Over at the Rovers, Mimi is massively flirting with Uncle Ronnie. Thought that was brilliant. Camilla calls Fiz over and says, look, I do actually like you. You deserve to know that Phill wants me back and he's been emailing me and I can show you if you like. And Fiz doesn't believe her and Evelyn tells her to get lost. And then Fiz phones up Phill and his mate picks it up and says Phil's just nipped out with Camilla. And Camilla takes Phill outside and says, oh, where did it all go wrong for us? And he says, it's probably when you had it away with the gardener. And she says, oh, we were so happy back then, we could be again. I'm so glad you emailed me. Oh, I'm so glad you emailed me, and I still love you too. Meanwhile, Fiz is getting a bit worried. They head round the corner and see Camilla and Phill canoodling. Or are they?
I need to watch that scene again. I meant to do it because it really did look like they were having a proper snogging session there.
Well, Fiz gets upset and heads home, and Maria realises she's in a TV show because she takes a screenshot, but it's actually called a photo.
Oh yeah, she did take that.
When you were in the show.
No, I thought that she was filming it. I think that she took a screenshot of something that she was filming.
Well, they head back to the Rovers to have a big bitch about Phill and do some shots, and then Phill comes in and Fiz has a go at him and shows him this picture, and he says, look, Camilla got upset and I just comforted her before I put her in a taxi. I swear I love you. And Maria says, well, how come you were emailing her then? And he's like, well, that's a mystery. Well, it wasn't me. And she definitely got them, but I don't know who sent them. And then Mimi comes out of the toilets completely drunk, and everyone looks at her like, it was her. She denies it, but she does admit that she doesn't think Fiz is good enough. And then she gets in a huff and says she's going back to number 9, and Phill bans her from the wedding. And she gets pushed into a taxi, going, oh, it's so unfair, I didn't do anything, it's not fair. And Fiz is looking very relieved. Then we get the girls come down in their bridesmaids' dresses. It looks like they've managed to clean everything, all the wine's gone, just looks beige now. Ruby loves it, Hope's not that enamoured. And then late at night we see Hope on the iPad. She comes down and she starts tapping away at it. What's she doing?
I think it was very obvious what she was doing. It was her all along. What a devious little young girl she is. And also very good writer. I hope that she got greater depth in the SATs this year, because to be able to convince both Camilla and what was it, the reception place, the wedding place, that she is a fully grown adult, able to write both formal letters of request to cancel ceremonies and also presumably some kind of love letter. That's pretty good. I never knew she would. I would never would have thought she had it in her.
No,
I would have thought that. I would have thought that she's more of a PE kind of girl than literacy.
She definitely feels like the sort of villain who relies more on brawn than brains.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So, Maria comes around on Friday. They're all getting ready for the wedding. And then Phill comes in going, someone's cancelled the registrar. They all start panicking. And they're like, how did Mimi do this? How awful. Tyrone comes round and he comes to pick up the bridesmaid dresses. He takes them round to the girls and Hope admits everything. She's pretty
It doesn't
pleased
take
with
her long,
herself.
does it? Yeah,
She's like, it was me!
yeah, she was crying a bit
she
about
says,
it.
well, I didn't want Mummy to get married to Phill, so I cancelled it.
Cancelled that. Spilt the wine on the bridesmaid dresses.
Well, she didn't. She definitely didn't make Evelyn kick Mimi to the floor.
No,
but that was just a bonus.
So, I'm still not sure about that first fall that Mimi had.
No, maybe she's just permanently drunk. Tyrone rushes round and goes to see Fiz. No, he brings Fiz over, and Hope's really sad. And she's like, I don't want them to get married. I just not after what he wrote about John, which is interesting because she's still holding a grudge there about the fact that Phill wanted to write a book about John Stape, the murderer, her dad. She also says that Tyrone doesn't want Phill and Fiz to get married either. And Phill phones and says, oh, don't worry, we've sorted the wedding out. I mean, honestly, if you're the venue and you get an email at like 1 o'clock in the morning going, hello, please, can I cancel my wedding? Do you just go cancel it, or do you go...
Hopefully someone else will turn up in the next 12 hours.
Put it online, we've got a last minute cancellation. They love it in Weatherfield that we'll get about 4 people turning up. So... He says,
no, this is where Hope makes Fiz tell Tyrone to come along to the wedding.
Oh,
she's like, if you're going to marry him, if you're going to marry Phill, let's have Dad come along.
Then she goes off to get ready, and Tyrone, and this happens all the time in Coronation Street, and every time it happens, it really annoys me, gives Fiz a pair of earrings as her something old, and it's a pair of Vera's earrings that she got given from Jack for one of their wedding anniversaries.
Why does it annoy you?
Because if you're a bride, you've done your planning, you've got your outfit sorted out. You don't need people turning up like the blooming 3 wise men to see Jesus, bringing you.
That is true. People do often get their something else they knew on the day, don't they?
It might shock you to realise this, Tyrone, but I've picked my earrings already. I already had a pair.
Yeah, that's very true, actually.
So she's very nice. She's not like me. She's like, oh, lovely, thank you. She's very touched.
Well, it's special,
I mean,
isn't it?
The thing, it probably struck her like it struck me, and this wasn't explicitly said in the show, but those would have been the earrings that she would have worn were they to get married.
Yeah.
If she was going to marry Tyrone, she would have worn those earrings.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
See?
Well, maybe it didn't count that wedding to Phill then. Maybe she accidentally... Maybe she officially married Tyrone instead.
Her earrings married Tyrone? Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Her ears are wedded to Tyrone.
Yeah, I thought this was very sneaky. Tyrone's... He's being all... Oh, I'm such a nice guy, but really he's not. He's a little snake.
Still not forgiven him, have you? Can't let it go.
He's like, oh, I made a terrible mistake. He hasn't even said at any point has he said anything like this. I know this is all my fault. I'm sorry. I'll do my best to make you trust me again. I will never make the same mistake again. All he's saying.
Sure he has.
No, he just was saying, oh, we love each other. You should marry him. Marry me instead.
I think he has been pretty apologetic.
No, not enough for me. I'm afraid.
I now know that I am not going to be going off with any Romanian neighbours.
You won't get away with it.
Because no, it's not worth the faff trying to get back with you
It's
at the end of it when I've had my fill.
Yeah, Phill.
Fiz had her fill.
Yeah, she didn't like it.
No.
Maria finds Fiz looking pensive out the side of the flat and hurries her back into number 9. She's like, do you want to marry Phill or not? Or what? And that's the big question, isn't it, of the day. Fiz gets in her dress. I have to say, she looks absolutely beautiful. She's wearing a really nice white dress with off the shoulder was like a crossover bit. Really nice. She looked really lovely. She always scrubs off scrubs up very well, does Danny McAlpine. She looked radiant. So she gets in the car. It's a Bentley as well. I was like, bloody hell. This is... I would marry Phill anyway. Fiz, put a year in at least, just for that sweet divorce settlement money. So they show up at this beautiful barn, which is probably the nicest decorated venue we've had on Coronation Street for a long time.
It was lovely.
All like flowing white tulle everywhere and floral arrangements, and I'm pretty sure there was a white like one of these light up trees in there, like a fake tree with lights on it.
When we did the wedding episode of the podcast earlier this year, we said that barns were the up and coming place for people to get married in, didn't we?
It's been like that for years now.
Yeah, but I can't remember there being a Coronation Street wedding in a place quite like this before.
I don't think so.
It was really nice that they were able to give them somewhere that wasn't Chariot Square or the Bistro.
Yeah.
And I think there were maybe double figures in the wedding guests as well.
There were quite a lot, but Phill wasn't keeping the side up, was he?
No. Well, no, what do you mean?
He only had his mum and his friend. He didn't have any other people.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Even Camilla didn't turn up.
Yeah.
So, the barn's decorated and lovely. Mimi's back on the guest list because they realised it wasn't actually her, it was Hope. And Tyrone scuffles into next to Evelyn, who's pleased to see him. And he admits that he says, if I see the ceremony, it'll help me move on. It's like if I see the body, I'll know she's really dead. You shouldn't have to see the wedding to realise that.
Yeah, it's good closure.
Anyway, Fiz arrives. She walks down the aisle. She looks very nice. Did she walk by herself? I can't remember.
No. She's got Maria and Hope and
Ruby. Yeah. Okay. So the ceremony begins, and they have their own vows as always. It's like I feel sometimes when I watch Coronation Street, I wonder whether there's royalties on the traditional Church of England vows. You
remember that time when Elsie Tanner got married and we used the actual vows? That nearly bankrupt ITV.
We can't do that again. What is it? It's something like
we're a great team.
I swear to God, we'll be an unbreakable team, or some kind of weird like that. And she kind of doesn't say it, and then she's like, let's have a little break. Let's have the advert break, and then when we come back, she's like, I'm sorry. And everyone's like, oh, she's gonna run away. And then she says, can I try that again? Aww.
And then she's just like, boom, boom, boom. She doesn't even need to repeat them after the registrar. She knows these vows. She knows.
And Tyrone looked helpful. Now he's downcast. He knows that ship has sailed. And Phill puts the ring on Fiz's finger, and they are pronounced man and wife. And everyone applauds. They walk down the aisle. Tyrone's left alone.
Made me wonder whether, Fiz, because she knew she had doubts, did she learn the lines off pat extra hard just so that she could, if she thought I might feel a bit wobbly, I need to know what I'm going to say. And she just rattled them off without thinking almost, so that she just could get it over with, because she knows that that's what everyone's expecting her to do, and that's what she should do in inverted commas. So I don't know, I kind of got that sort of vibe there. Yeah.
Tyrone goes back to the garage and tells Kev, he's like, I don't care. I'm gonna go home and watch some Zombiesi and eat takeaway. I want to be alone. And Kevin's like, well, I'll come round later with some beers. And he's like, no, I want to be alone.
Probably a good job that Kevin didn't come round, considering what ended up happening. I mean, we just saw the snog, but who knows what happened for the rest of the evening? I don't know how much Zombiesi would have been watched that evening.
So, the wedding party goes where else but the bistro, because the budget didn't swing for...
Why didn't they just stay in the barn?
I know, it's not like you need to get married in a barn, is it? It's normally you have your wedding in the barn because you want your reception at the barn.
Yeah.
Not like, I only want to get married in a barn, I don't have my reception in a barn.
I guess maybe
it was just... I am a cow?
Too expensive for Coronation Street to have more food scenes filmed there or something?
I don't know. It seems
odd.
It was very strange. So
this barn doesn't have a side room where Fiz and Phill can go and have a secret conversation where she dumps him. Impossible.
Maria, Sean and Sally they're like, I feel sorry for Fiz. She didn't look very happy, does she? And then they all toast her, and Phill and Fiz have a dance, and she looks very unhappy. But whoever came up with this idea, I want them to get raised, because there was a karaoke machine at the reception, and what a brilliant collection of characters to have sing these songs. So Evelyn and Mimi duet to I Know Him So Well, and oh my goodness, it was brilliant because Evelyn's such a microphone hog and she's singing, and then Mimi's trying to join in and she's like, it's not yet, it's not your turn yet, it's my go now. And they did, and it
was very well done.
Fiz tells Phill she wants to speak to him, and throughout the entire scene where she's dumping him, Evelyn is singing tunelessly in the background. It was a stroke of genius. So
I do sometimes think that characters, when they're supposed to be singing bad on the karaoke, overdo it a little bit, and it almost does feel a little bit like, I can understand you're out of tune, but you're out of time as well. I don't know. I really, really did enjoy it, but I think
but you
maybe
come from a musical family.
I do,
so
but I think
understand.
maybe it was pushed a little bit too far at just how off she would be.
I think your musical family doesn't understand.
No, I do understand. I just think it was a little unrealistically wrong.
All right. So,
but it was still lots
Fiz
of fun.
says to Phill, I need to talk to you, and he's like, please don't do this. He realises what's going on. He walks out like a man
awkward,
condemned.
Poor Phill.
He's like, he's going to his execution, and he's like, please don't say what I think you're going to say. She won't stop. She says, look, my heart should be bursting out of my chest, but I don't feel anything. I've been lying to myself. I've been lying to you. I don't love you. And he says, but I love you. And she says, I'll tell everyone, I'm sorry.
Doesn't she say something like, oh, you must really hate me right now? And he's like, oh,
that.
Worse than that, I love you.
Yeah, that was awful.
No, I didn't mind that line.
No, it was it was heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant line.
Yeah.
That was a brilliant line. So he's devastated, and I felt so bad for him. They come out of the little kitchen where they've been having this chat, and Fiz kind of immediately leaves, and Phill makes an announcement going, my wife and I have decided to consciously uncouple, or something like that. And then, don't worry though, all the food and drinks paid for, let's carry on, let's keep being merry. And then he starts singing Build Me Up Buttercup, and everyone's just looking really sad, and he just looks so devastated.
He does. He did a really good job, Jamie Kenner, on the mic as well, didn't
brilliant.
He actually did have a good set of pipes on him, but he was just looking so down and broken as he was singing.
He was trying to force himself to be jolly.
Yeah, and everybody just looked really, really gutted for him. Poor, like Evelyn there was,
And Mimi looks really sad, and then she grabs a bottle of champagne and kind of sticks it under her arm, doesn't she?
Yeah, was that what it was? Was it champagne that she had?
What else would it be?
Oh, I didn't know. I thought that she had a glass of wine and Evelyn passed her a bottle of wine because you're going to need to drown your sorrows or something.
Say, then?
Well, no, you said champagne, which is suggest that now you can celebrate.
No, that's not what I meant.
Oh, okay, yeah, because
just because you've got champagne doesn't mean you're happy, Michael. Loads of rich people are actually really sad inside because money doesn't buy happiness.
No, it buys champagne.
I'm almost glad, the same thing.
I'm glad that they
At
didn't.
least for the first half an hour.
I'm glad that they didn't have Mimi kind of crowing. I don't think it would have suited the mood.
She looked sad for her son. She's probably secretly relieved.
Yeah, but
she's probably also
she is human as well.
That girl's not going to get her hands on my family jewels. So, Fiz goes round to number 9, knocks on the door. Tyrone opens the door and he's like, he sees her there, and she says she's left Phill, and he says, I'm watching something on the telly at the moment, as a joke. And I'm like, Tyrone, you're in no position here to make any kind of jokes about this. You should get down on your hands and knees and lick her feet.
Maybe that's what they went on to do
you don't deserve
that
her. They kiss, and that's the end of the episode.
Hooray! Fiz and Tyrone are back together. Oh, I'm so happy with this. I'm really, really conflicted though. It's a little bit like the Abby and Rantoya story earlier this year. Like there couldn't be an outcome where I was completely happy because I love all 6 members of those 2 storylines. And Phill has been so brilliant on the show. I don't know whether he's left. I've got no idea. Jamie Kenner isn't on Twitter, is he? And usually when characters leave Coronation Street, they do a little post on social media. Although he's actually on. Have a quick look on his Instagram, see if he said anything. But I think he's been a great character. He's not been, I don't know how memorable he's going to be because he's just a fairly standard guy. He's just a plain old Mr. Nice Guy. But that was exactly what this story needed. Fiz wanted somebody who was very reliable and could look after her and everything, and was just fairly decent. And I think he's done a really, really good job. And I'd really hope that he can stay in the show. But I get a feeling that this is his exit. But we have got to see an awful lot more of him than I expected we ever would.
That doesn't make any sense because Aren't they not going to have a conversation about what's going to, like...
Oh, yeah, I mean, this might not be his final episode. I'm saying that maybe Monday's going to be his final episode because, you know, if you want to leave Weatherfield, you got to do it quickly. I think that... I would hope that we're going to have some kind of closure scene or something between Fiz and Phill. I mean, to be honest, Tyrone and Phill need to have a scene together, don't they? Because they've had this weird little bromance going on for the past 6 months or so since that homoerotic Christmas Day party, and then the cement one as well. So I think it'd be kind of nice if Phill was like, you know, the best man one or something to Tyrone. No. But
don't give in, Phill. That you're still married. Get consummating, lad.
I was very, very sad last year when I heard that Fiz and Tyrone would be having an affair, and I remember because that was
Fiz and Tyrone having an affair.
Sorry, would be breaking up because it was when I was on the Zoom call. I was doing one of those Coronation Street Zoom press thingies last year, and that was when it's like, oh, and now we're going to do the big affair storyline. That's right, Fiz and Tyrone are going to split up, and I was like really, really gutted because I loved them as a couple. But even though Tyrone was...
really only last year?
Yeah, it was. It
feels like it's been going on for years.
Yeah, it was about 14, 15 months ago, I think. And it's just been a really good story from the moment we had that epic long scene when Tyrone admits to Fiz that he's fancies Alina and they kissed and everything, all the way through to, I mean, I suppose some of the Alina bit was a bit dull, but it's gone on for a long time and they've not rushed it. There have been periods of time where it drops off the radar, but on the whole, it's been good, and I would hope that I'm not alone in welcoming Tyrone back into Fiz's warm and fuzzy embrace. But I think possibly, I don't know, it seems like on social media there are more people that are on your side.
My side?
Your side of Tyrone and Fiz should not get back together again.
The right way to live your life. Can I just say, it's all very well and dandy, everyone happy, joy. You wait till Alina turns up with baby. I know.
Pop. She is still lingering over them, isn't she? I think that she may well be popping back into Weatherfield at some point soon, or just after they settle down with a little baby. That wouldn't surprise me in the least. But no, I'm happy, and I hope that in time, Gemma, you'll learn to forgive Tyrone.
No, I don't ever learn my lessons, never.
You never forgive anybody,
never
you hold grudges.
Never forget.
Don't get on Gemma's bad side, anybody.
Wait for them to let their guard down, and then I'll poo in their shoes, just like Cerberus. So we did a poll, and I said,
This is a Twitter poll, was it?
Yeah, would you reckon that Phill and Fiz are going to be Hitch by the end of the day, and Hitch got 22% and Ditch got 78%. But really, everyone was right because they got Hitch
and there was total Ditch in there. Well, what did you think about the way that they did it? Would it have been better if she'd gone through with the stumbling of words and then decided no, I can't do it, and jilted him at the altar, or did you like it being stretched out a little bit longer?
No, because I'm honestly feeling like there's more to this story because I don't think Phil's going to give up. And I think Mimi's too great to let her go.
I think that Phill looked pretty broken at the end. I think that he must have seen it coming because Fiz and Tyrone, like you said earlier, have been very, very chummy with each other for a long time. And if I was Phill, I would have been nervous about this happening. And when he was up there singing his Build Me Up Buttercup, he was living it, wasn't he? He wasn't trying to hide, oh, I've been dumped. He was like, yeah, no, I knew this would happen. I'm going to make a big song and dance about it, literally. So I think this is it for him. And the way that Coronation Street does often work with characters leaving on the Monday after a big climax on Friday, I wouldn't be surprised at all if he pootles off back down south with Mimi.
What's he going to do now? Because he was banking on Tyrone selling his house so that he could get his hands on that cash to fix his roof. What's his roof? What's he going to do with his roof? What's he going to do with this 500 bedroom mansion now? He hasn't got anybody to live in it with him.
He can sell it and live somewhere else. He'll be all right.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, Tyrone and Fiz.
No, I love Phill is better. Phill is a better man than Tyrone.
I think that
you can't tell me that Tyrone's a good person.
I think that absolutely, Phill. If I was Fiz's mate, I would be telling her.
I'd be like, what have you done?
I think I'd probably be saying stick with Phill. Phill is more reliable.
Yeah, but it's not. It's not to do with that, is it? It's for who do you love?
I know, exactly.
In a way, is it better that she's told him now rather than dragging out, God knows, 10, 20, 30 years of a loveless marriage, without ever really confessing how she feels and letting him live a lie?
Yeah. What do you think about the fact that they actually got married? Is that going to ultimately have any difference? Because there was no consummation street last night, was there? Or tonight, was there? So they can get a quick and easy divorce if they want to go down that route.
Depends on whether Phil agrees or not. I would make it life very difficult for little Fiz bonfires him.
No, I think
I'd be vengeful.
I know you would be, but
I think that's it. You
and Phil are not
my
quite
wedding.
the same in terms of personality, are you?
You ruined my karaoke wedding. How dare you?
I was. Were we watching one of the old episodes on the DVDs the other day when Tyrone was on the karaoke? We were, weren't we? We were watching the 2009 episode. He bought Molly a karaoke machine for Christmas, which was literally just a present for himself, and his Christmas 2009 was just spent crooning all the way through the episode. He's pretty good as well. I was wondering, as an alternate idea for how this episode could have played out, could Fiz have decided to, I'm not sorry Phil, I can't marry you. Tyrone, I want to marry you. And she's like to the registrar, look, while you're here, could you marry me and Tyrone? Just imagine if by the end of this episode, I thought that could have made quite a good twist, because it seems fairly inevitable, I would say, that Fiz and Tyrone will get married now. This whole storyline kicked off, remember, when Fiz was trying to push the engagement. Now, fair play to her, they had been engaged for 5, 6, 7 years at that point, so maybe you do want to get the ball rolling. But it was a wedding that started it, it's a wedding that ended it. And I think they're gonna get married by the end of the year. If I was Tyrone, bloody luckiest guy on the planet right now, I'd be getting a ring on Fiz's finger, lickety split.
Disgrace.
Don't you think?
Disgraceful.
He was the one that didn't. I don't know.
He was the one that got scared and got cold feet.
Yeah, he got cold feet about the wedding.
She wanted to go to Greece and get married, and he was like, "Oh no, but I want to bang this woman."
But yeah, but before that, he just didn't seem like he was that into the idea of getting married at all, or rushing it, even though they'd been engaged for that long.
He's having a stupid midlife crisis.
He needs to get a ring on that.
He should have just got a convertible.
So the wedding itself, we kind of mentioned before, was very nicely done. Good. I don't know. It was definitely the biggest one for a while, probably since maybe Michelle and Robert's wedding that they had at the church that time, because it has been very, very, very Chariot Square and bistro centred. So I don't know what it was about Fiz and Phill that, mean that they earned themselves a big venue.
Had to be a big one for Phil, because just to sort of let us know how super, super loaded he was.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
The Bentley, Michael. Where'd they get the Bentley from? I'd love a Bentley. That's my ambition.
Little bit disappointed, but not at all surprised that we didn't get any.
Imagine if my first car was a Bentley. That'd be amazing.
You have not. Okay,
I've never owned a car.
Imagine how. That was. You lost what I was going to say. Oh no, I was just going to say I was disappointed yet not at all surprised that we didn't have any more of Fiz's family there. We had no Scylla, because apparently her osteoporosis is full on at the moment, and that's technical term there. And similarly, Chesney is in bed with the Lurgy. So I don't know. Poor Sam Aston. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't come along to this. That just seems like. No, you use these stupid excuses for when characters have left the show. You don't need to do it if they're literally on the cast still. So I wonder whether there was ever anything like, was Chesney planned to be in it, but something happened that meant Sam Aston couldn't do it?
Know.
It was just very weird him not being there. It was nice that there were more people there, but. I mean, okay, maybe I wouldn't have wanted Chesney gurning along to the service.
I would have liked to have seen a few more extras, because I think it would have made sense to say, "Oh, these are Phil's family." But other than that, I thought it was fine.
Yeah, it was nicely packed. We got to see Gemma was joining in there, wasn't she?
Gemma at one point was walking around the
macaroons.
Yeah, she's walking around with an entire 3-4 tiers of macaroons.
Oh, what did you think of the cake? The little cupcake cake? No.
Why no? Why no?
You want a proper...
Just have a giant cake. Just accept it. You only get one... There's only one, very few opportunities. Maybe when you have a baby and it gets christened, or whatever. How many times you can have a giant cake with all these tears? Why did you waste it on using cupcakes? You can have cupcakes whenever you want.
Yeah, that's true.
They sell them at Tesco.
Gemma made me a nice cake for my birthday last week.
It wouldn't have tears on it. They did it.
It didn't have tears on it, no. It was a nice butterscotch layer cake from Nigella Lawson. Very tasty. I would recommend it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's answered you.
I tell her how to cook recipes more, the better, and she agrees with me. Yeah.
Did you feel bad for Mimi when it turned out that it was actually Hope? I don't think that we got enough vindication.
She didn't get vindicated properly at all.
No, she just turned up in the end, didn't she?
She's like, I wouldn't have sabotaged your wedding. Poor woman.
Yeah, I think so.
And it was really funny how her and Mimi were like, her and Evelyn were sniping at each other for ages, and then eventually end up, because they were both drunk, just doing a duet together.
It was brilliant.
I tell you what,
so good.
If there's anything to mourn here, it's the fact that Mimi and Evelyn are not going to be family. There's not going to be an awkward Christmas.
No.
Like in The Good Life, when they didn't deliver Christmas to Penelope or whatever her name was, and they had to go round the poor one's house, and she made a newspaper hat. Remember that?
Yeah. I don't think I know what you mean. Yeah. Oh well. We had Mimi has rubbed a lot of viewers, really up the wrong way, hasn't she?
I love her.
I think she's fab.
She's
but
so
I think
great.
There would certainly be some people that would be very happy to see her go.
Please, everyone.
Did you like Camilla as a character?
She was on Emmerdale, wasn't she, before, apparently?
Was she?
I thought she was great. She was very glossy, very posh, very, very la-di-da-da. Come to see Phil.
I just think that she was a bit stupid for falling for Hope's emails.
Why?
Well, just because I don't think that a child would be able to do a particularly
good job. You're just going to have to assume that either Phil is functionally illiterate, which makes the book prospect quite interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Book about John State looking like it was written by a 10-year-old.
Accomplished at writing letters.
He's a very bad man.
Maybe she's just got a book of 100 of greatest historical love letters, and she's just lifting bits from there.
Okay, well...
Don't forget, there's very good spell checkers these days.
Yes, that's very true.
Dear Camilla,
anything
I
else?
miss you. We were boyfriend and girlfriend. I am getting married. You should come and see me. I miss you. I love you. Phil. So it's easy. Brilliant. Anyone can do it.
Brilliant. Yeah. I was very happy with this story. I think the Mimi and Evelyn stuff was at its peak on Monday, because that was before the wedding really got going in full force. So it was literally just, let's stick these characters in a scene together at home. Them. You know, it's a sitcom setup, isn't it? Two people who hate each other confined in a little space, and let's see what they do. But all throughout the week they were just fantastic together. I enjoyed this very much. So along came a spider as the next story. So let's find out what he's been up to this week. Well, they have made it to the Gazette. There with their what were they making? I've lost what they did. Oh yeah, it was the bin protest, wasn't it? The holding up the bin lorry on the front page of the Gazette with that. There is Tyrone and Toya in their flat, and then Ed comes up and he is immediately grilled by Spider about the number of properties in his portfolio. So Spider's clearly a bit miffed about. He's got a bone to pick with landlords in general.
Well, I think a lot of people do. If you go on Twitter, that people hate landlords.
I think it was obviously just supposed to be there because what Spider ends up doing later on in the episode is trying to sneak into the brewery so that these homeless people can get somewhere to live because they couldn't afford to buy property or rent property, from these greedy landlords.
Well, yeah, Ed's like, where's my rent? Where's my rent? And
I saw more than a few people saying, "Oh, Spider was a bit harsh to Ed. Was he always like that?" And I think he was.
Yes, he was.
I think he was absolutely always like that. Yes, he was also kind of fun-loving and a bit dopey and kind and nice, but if he, went up against somebody who represented whatever it is he is currently campaigning a bit against, yes, he's absolutely like this. It's just weird to see people defending Ed, who's another character that doesn't seem to be particularly popular. I really like Ed, but I thought that was very much in Spider's personality, from at least what I remember him anyway.
No, absolutely, and also there's nobody more strident than somebody who's self-righteous and believes that they're morally correct, and many people would agree with Spider, about the morality of.
Wasn't Spider like going, landlord, lord of the land? Which is something that I used in school this week because we're doing about the Highwayman poem, and so some of the children couldn't spell landlord. They were writing Lanlord, and I said it's landlord, not landlord. Nothing to do with internet. Internet cables. They didn't have that back in the 17th century. Yeah, we're at the whim of BT.
I think Ed probably went home and cried into a big bundle of money.
Probably.
After being told off by Spider.
Yeah. I later on in the week, it's a different story. Ed has got an absolutely brilliant scene with Steve, hasn't he? So anyway, Spider.
Well, hang on, no. She's there. He's there to ask for money.
He's there for money, and Toya says, "I don't actually got any money at the moment, but I'm going to have a new job soon."
She's like, went from having 2 incomes to none.
Yeah.
So
Toya's feeling pretty sure about herself, but to be fair to her, she's probably seen the copious other number of people on Coronation Street. They're out of job one day and they walk straight into a new one the next. There's just a trial period coming around the corner for her.
My question is, was Imran insured? And if he was, do you get any money if you're accused of murdering him?
I don't know. Maybe they have to wait for that whole thing to clear up.
They think the insurance person's like, I understand, Mrs. Habib, but the problem is...
Yeah. Well, it's win-win for Toya, really, because if she manages to get Ed to accept this a bit of an IOU, well, if she wins, then she can have the money, and if she loses, she gets sent to prison. So she's like, sorry, Ed, rent. Can't pay you. I'm in jail. I've got my own landlord now.
Yeah, I've got a new landlord.
He's called the governor. So, Spider takes Toya dumpster diving out the back of the shop for some free food, and Toya's like, "Oh, this is brilliant! I'm having flashbacks to my activist days."
He gave us some raspberries.
He did give us some raspberries. Yeah,
Very
Georgia
nice.
Taylor enjoys raspberries, doesn't she? So I don't know whether that was put in especially for her. But she gets 2 punnets of them.
Brilliant, and she's there going, and he's like, look at this vegan slice, it's only been here like half an hour, it's really great, sticking it to the man. And she's like, what, Dev?
That does remind me of our friend Katie's dad, who liked to cut the mould off the cheese before he ate it.
It was quite uncomfortable because he's the kind of guy who's super into like showing off like how much money he saved and stuff, and so we went around there for tea and he was going, look at this trifle, it's only gone off 3 days ago, and I'm really funny about that.
Very resourceful. So Gemma is you're a slave to your best befores, aren't you?
I'm not as bad as I used to be.
No.
Use by dates are the problem, not best befores.
Yeah.
Especially
anyway,
don't try to feed me meat. That's out of date.
Okay, I won't.
Please.
So, anyway.
Or at least tell me. Let me choose. Don't let me eat and then go, that was good, wasn't it? You can't tell it went off 3 weeks ago, can you?
No, you will once it gets down your digestive system.
You will eventually, yeah.
So, last week's episodes ended with Spider on the phone making a mysterious phone call, didn't it? And people were, again, a little bit worried about, has Spider gone to the dark side or something like that. So I was going to ask you about
this. Is this what this was?
Yeah, I think this is what this was, because he said on the phone, I'll see you Monday.
I have to say, of all the things I was kind of trying to guess, this was not one of them because it's not really that interesting.
It's not, but I was kind of excited about the potential for it to be interesting because I kind of want to know what it's like inside the brewery, you know?
Oh, tough. We
didn't get to see any inside. Literally, if Debbie and Uncle Ronnie had turned up just a few minutes later, maybe we would have been able to see Spider inside the brewery, but alas, no. Anyway, what they're planning to do is to... squash in it. That he's going to get some homeless people and move them in there because it closed a few years ago. It's up for grabs according to Spider.
Well, if the bats can live there, why can't they?
Exactly.
Well, Debbie was just saying, I don't know what to do with this place.
Yeah. She says she was planning to do it up, didn't she? Which is really interesting because we were saying on the changing for that's the Coronation Street discussion we had a couple of months ago that brewery lane, I'm convinced, is going to be the next bit of the set that they're going to develop because there was that person on the Digital Spy Forum that had put all their plans in for this is what I would do with it. So could this be the beginnings of a new development on the brewery lane? I don't think that they're going to be doing any big set developments anytime really soon because there's the what do they call it, the precinct that's still being built at the moment, plus the new visitors centre, but it wouldn't surprise me, and it's nice that it is still Debbie in charge of it, but also slightly ridiculous that she seems to earn all of it. She's like the luckiest Monopoly player ever, isn't she? She's got hotels everywhere, owns all the property cards. I'm surprised that Spider wasn't mad at her, really. Yeah, well, she's been spending all of her riches wisely, hasn't she? She's got some lovely pink hair dye. She's going for a bit of a Jackie Dobbs in a second appearance, wasn't she?
Why
with
not?
us? I think that she looked fabulous this week. Very, very nice.
She always looks fabulous.
She does always look fabulous, but that little pink sheen that she had was interesting for her.
Very polished.
She just needs to make it go like full on, so she could be like a little pink Phyllis Pierce or something.
Hey, listen up, what you doing?
Oh, Ronnie.
Get out of the brewery.
Anyway, we're skipping right ahead with this. So Spider's planning to occupy the brewery, and Toya's like, "Oh, I can help by peacefully protesting outside," because she doesn't really want to get into trouble with this.
Well,
what
she
would have been on
should-
bail
yeah.
for murder?
Yeah.
So she.
Keep your nose out.
I loved how being with Spider made her rebellious side come to the fore a bit. She was like by Wednesday and Friday's episode back to being the sort of Toya that some people are being put off. You know, but
What do you mean?
well, just by being, oh, I was having a bit of crying. Oh, I want the ashes, and oh, I deserve this, and yeah. So some people are fed up with Toya at the moment. Not us,
Never.
But the Monday Toya when she was with Spider and just having little lovely flashbacks.
I want to know what Imran thinks, looking down.
I don't
heaven.
think that he's.
Is he like?
He's too pleased.
How
about
come
this.
you never protested or went like, dumpster diving when I was with you?
But, Spider stirred something within Toya.
Well, she's
I
been
think he's
yearning.
gonna stir her ovaries back into action again. She's gonna be popping out those over, by the end of the month.
We don't know if that's possible.
I don't know. Anyway, so what else happened?
She's like, I want to help you.
Yeah, Spider.
And he's like, it's not strictly legal.
Yeah, he says it. Yeah, he says we're in a bit of a grey area. And Toya says, I can definitely help out with this because she says, I can't organise a booze up in a brewery, but a squat. So she goes to the bistro.
Well, I don't understand why she said that. That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense, really.
Why can't she organise?
Was she just admitting that she was a really, really bad landlady? Can't organise a booze up. No, when she was at the Rovers. You haven't forgotten, had you?
No, I know you did then.
Iconic.
Like, really, you can though. I bet you could.
Probably could.
Especially around here, they're all alcoholics.
Yeah. And you can't organise a booze up in Speed Dial because it's a dry restaurant, we found out today.
It makes my throat feel itchy.
I didn't actually bring a drink in to do a podcast.
No, I need
today.
Can I go and get a drink?
No, let's do it after this story. Have a little breather. So she goes to the bistro, does Toya, and says, Leanne, can I use your printer? I would have thought that maybe Imran might have his own printer.
Yeah, but Adam doesn't want her in the thing because he thinks she's a murderer.
No, well, they definitely seem like the sort of family that would have a printer in their flat.
No, he'll be like, I can print
They're
at
young
work.
professionals.
No, I'm going to print it at work, which is around the corner. Why should I pay for printing? And if I was Adam, I'd be like, I've got one rule about my printer, and it's no murderers allowed. Which is why Gary's not allowed in there.
Yes. So she goes back and takes the key for the brewery out of the safe. She goes to the back, and takes it out of the safe. Fairly easy to find.
Well, there's a million keys in there.
Yeah. So she kind of scurries back to Spider, and he's like, brilliant, thanks, Toy, you're amazing. I don't want you to get in trouble about this, though. And she says, I'm recapturing some of my youth. But then I can't remember exactly what the line was. She says, I had a really big, I had a exciting youth, and then I went soft a bit in the middle, but now I'm back, baby. And I was thinking,
like
I love this. So then we have a scene a bit later where Beth and Kirk are out the back of the factory, and I can't remember, they're talking about going to the bistro later or something, and Kirk swears he can hear a suspicious noise from the brewery. And when they're out at the bistro later, Kirk tells Debbie, for dinner, yeah. Kirk tells Debbie, I heard somebody there earlier. So she goes and checks for the key, and what do you know, it's gone. Then when we go back to the brewery,
if they had just cut the key and replaced it, then none of this would have happened.
Exactly. So when they get to the brewery, that's when they capture Spider.
Debbie and Ronnie go.
Yeah, they capture Spider just before he's about to go in. They put a giant glass over the top of him and scoop him out, throw him out the window.
Throw him outside.
Yeah, that's
she gets
how
a
you deal
Hoover.
with
She's like, you're gonna die.
And Ronnie stops Debbie calling the police and sends them on their way. So Spider back at home, back at Toya's flat. Yeah, he says, sorry, we got nabbed. And she offers her flat as his base of operations. But then, just as she's getting into it, she gets another phone call from Shuttleworths. They're phoning Toya again, and she says, the ashes are ready to collect. But she doesn't take the call. And then she has a bit more of a cry at the end of the episode, doesn't she? She kind of realises that she's kind of been... It feels like she's been using everything that's been going on as Spider as a distraction technique. Exactly. She doesn't want to deal with these ashes because she doesn't... you know.
Do you want to believe it's true?
I know, exactly. And so she says, Spider, sorry, you can't stay there. And he does the classic Coronation Street thing of, right, I better go then right now. Put my knapsack over my shoulder and off I go.
Go squat in the brewery.
Yeah, and so poor old Toya is left very, very sad
She's crying
at the end of the episode. So Wednesday, we start with Leanne trying to persuade Debbie not to get the police involved still. Toya, I mean, at this point, they don't know that it was Toya that did it, but Debbie heavily suspects that Toya has had something to do with the key snatching.
She wasn't like the crime of the century, was it?
No.
She went, can I go in your office?
Your office that does not have CCTV in.
Okay, and yeah, it doesn't take a genius.
Yeah, I would have thought that after the Ray Crosby trying to rape Faye kind of thing in that very office, it might have been a bistro policy to get CCTV around all over the place just in case, you know, any other dodgy staff members, but what do I know?
Oh, once they fired Ray, it's all fine.
We do get a little bit of angry Alia as well later in the episode, don't we? Who's very cowy about Toya's protest when she reads about it in the paper.
Alia.
Shut up, Alia, exactly. Say no more.
She's like, oh, I can't believe you are doing stuff when your husband died. Shut up.
Toya's with George later, sorting out the Ash returning arrangement. And then Leanne comes up and has a go at her for giving Spider the key. Toya says, well, he's not living with me anymore now, so no, I'm not moved on from Imran actually. I'm sorting his ashes out now. Yep, I stole the key. What are you going to do about it? And she's just not in the mood at all for speaking with Leanne right now. And how she, you know, hearing about how she needs to keep her nose clean. She's just like, no, I can't. I'm doing my own thing. Then later on, Leanne bumps into Syra leaving the Undertaker. So she's the one that's got Imran's ashes.
She's Imran's mum.
Yeah, yeah. So Toya has arranged. Again, she doesn't want to deal with it, does she?
Toya said I could have them.
Yeah, but but Toya changes her mind later, doesn't she? And again, I think it's. No, she's trying to. She doesn't want to admit it. She doesn't want to believe that Imran's actually gone, and having his urn up on the mantelpiece is a bit of a giveaway.
Jeez, I don't know how you'd cope with this.
When you'll find out one day.
No, shut up.
Anyway, so Toya, Debbie kind of... Oh yeah, this is when Debbie strides past.
Touch this lolly stick now.
What? I'll touch him a wood. This is when... I wrote down later what Debbie says. She's... she says, hello Toya, not glued to a motorway today. When she goes past, it was brilliant.
Well, it's not motorways anymore, it's pieces of art. These days,
yeah, that's what you do, isn't it? Yeah, protesting oil.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Debbie, she's tells them exactly what she think about Toya shacking up supposedly with Spider. Adam's
Shameless.
there too, so he knows what's going on. And at the end of the episode, Leanne goes to see Toya to try and talk some sense into her, but Toya breaks down in tears once more. Poor Georgia Taylor, definitely in the running for the Weatherfield Waterworks Award this year, isn't she?
Sponsored by Vita Coco.
She has squirted out a good couple of litres by this point in the year, I think. She says, yeah, you're absolutely right, Leanne. I'm going to get those ashes back. And that's the plan for Friday. She goes and talks to Sarah along with Leanne, who's agreed to meet them later. And she says, oh, can I have the ashes back, please? But alas, it's too late. He's been buried.
The Sarah says, I buried his ashes in the graveyard this morning. And it's like she was there with her, like, digging with her hands. Like, again, I'm going to make a hole. And the priest is looking out.
Burrowing hamster.
The priest is looking out the window going, oh my God, I was like, I'm scared to go and say anything to her. You go.
So she's buried him next to Rana, next to the mosque or something, I guess. I don't know where Islamic really burial sites are. No, I don't know. But anyway, she said it was like sacred ground, didn't she?
She did say
so
that.
It was a special place.
So Toya shouldn't have been clawing it then, should you, Sarah?
Toya is massively upset by this, as you might imagine. And so Sarah's like, well, serves you right for murdering him, actually, and hooking up with your ex. So, oh well, what are you going to do about it? Toya actually makes a joke later to Leanne, doesn't she, about grave digging, about going and digging out the grave, digging out the ashes, but it's only joking. And that's kind of it. There was a scene.
Well, she gets really upset. You've got no right, and then Toya.
She
gets into a taxi.
And drives off, and that's what Leanne sees the tail end of. But the storyline takes bit of a turn, I guess, in the final scenes when Spider's on the front page of the Gazette for aggravated trespassing. The headline "Fracking Hell." What is it? Toya says something like, "Oh, I can't condone what he's done" or something, but then she gives a great little smile, doesn't she, as if to say, "Yeah, you go, Spider."
Yeah, it's like...
Which gives me hope that activist Toya is back.
I also like the fact that Toya thinks she has to issue like a formal statement on the shenanigans of her ex-boyfriend. Like, nobody needs you to write to the local paper and say you condone his actions.
So, how did you enjoy this story this week?
I don't. It keeps making me sad that Imran's dead.
I don't think we're going to get away from that fact, Gemma.
I can't get over it.
Keep being reminded of it, I know.
Poor Toya. How would you... I don't understand how she's not gone completely mad. I think I'd claw my face off.
Well, she was already a little bit mad earlier this year, so...
What would you do with your life?
Well, join an activism group, I suppose, and then go and do a bit of fracking and maybe...
I think I might do that,
breaking into an old brewery to set up as a squat for the local homeless people.
Sell the house.
And then eat some vegan lasagna.
Buy a pony, and I'd ride around the country and admonish people, and I'd tell them off for wearing bad fashion.
Is that what you want Toya to do?
No, that's what I would do.
Okay.
And then I'd go outside to Primark and I'd be like, buying from Primark's the same as raping the planet. Tell me, are there any good cardigans in there?
Do you think that she's kind of moving on with Spider? Does she just want friendship, or do you think that she wants more? Is she getting that stirring in her ovaries?
Stop talking about her ovaries. It's really rude and disrespectful.
Sorry. Womb.
No, you don't need to talk about anything to do with that. I think that she is just getting carried away with the idea that she can turn back time and go to a time in her life when things were a lot simpler and she didn't have to worry about her dead husband's ashes, and his mum, murder trial.
It still felt very platonic to me.
I think so
on
as
Monday.
well. I'm not ruling out a spider smooch, but I think that it's very sweet to see, and it's nice too to have a male-female friendship on Coronation Street, which is quite rare, especially now we don't get to see Eileen at the taxi firm. Which used to be the...
I just absolutely loved having them in scenes together, like Spider in the flat, just the two of them sitting chatting together. It was the most lovely retro throwbacky. It was really fan bait stuff.
At one point this week we were like, "Oh, can you believe we were watching?"
It was
Spider?
Literally, it was that I cannot believe this.
It's 2022, and here's Spider Nugent.
Yeah.
Chilling out in Toya Battersby's living room.
Yeah, a character that was very much of his time, but doesn't feel like he doesn't fit in here. It was just so weird to have him there. And yes, he does look older than he did 20 years ago, but I think they've nailed his personality absolutely right. I think he is. Yeah. They can still write absolutely. He was just how I remembered him, and there's a huge risk when you're bringing a character back after so long that they can't recapture the same thing. But I think they really, really did with him. Or you get your characters like, Stephen or Wendy, who didn't really necessarily have a mega personality back in the day, so it doesn't really matter what they're like now. But Spider is a very unique kind of person, isn't he? And yeah, hats off to the writers and to Martin for being able to bring him to life again.
You said hands up to the writers and tomatoes.
Hands up to the ripe tomatoes for bringing Spider back again.
Well done.
I just it warmed the very pits of my heart to have them together.
How many pits has your heart got?
It's got the left ventricle and the right ventricle.
What about the atriums? You're leaving them out of it?
Well, they're not the pits, are they?
Okay, I'm just checking.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Absolutely loved it. So therefore, very sad that they got rid of him after the Monday episode again. They're literally following a formula with these returns, aren't they? Wendy Crozier, revealed on a Friday, in it for a bit on the Monday, out. Stephen Reed, in it for the Friday, back on the Monday, out. Now luckily Stephen is back again. Spider, in on a Friday, back on the Monday, out. Are these returns all on trial periods or something? Yeah. Or it's like, we don't want to... We need to ease them back into the show gently. We don't want a Julie Goodyear situation happening here.
Right. Don't Goodyear you out.
Yeah, maybe that's maybe that's a policy at Coronation Street that they set
Anyone who
up
hasn't been
20
in it
years
for 10
ago.
years have got the Goodyear policy.
Yeah, you're only allowed to be in 2 episodes and you return. I don't know.
2 consecutive.
But I really hope that we get to see Spider again soon. If we go, I mean, like Wendy, she's not been in it for. Is it coming up on 3 weeks or 2 weeks now? I can't remember, but. What's going on with that? Why have this big, whoa, Wendy is back on Coronation Street. Remember Wendy Flaming Crozier? She's back and she's going to cause trouble and she's going to cause all, she's going to, set the street alight and she's going to, but there's been nothing. Absolutely nothing. Stephen's been in it.
You've hyped yourself up too much.
No, Corey, you don't bring Wendy Flaming Crozier back and then just put her in for like 4 scenes and then say you're happy.
I'm sure it'll be fine, Michael.
I'm sure it will be, but... and Stephen Reed, I think, was probably fair to say the least exciting of all the returns. And so you can't go wrong, really. But yeah, I think that Spider desperately needs to come back next week. If they leave it another week with him not in it, they're really missing a trick. Although the fact that he's arrested, is Toya going to go to the police station to see him, or is she going to be his phone call, or what? I don't know.
I'm surprised that Spider didn't see Debbie as a little bit of a kindred spirit with her dyed hair when she was kicking him out. He'd be like, "Come on, sister, comrade, look at your hair. You can't be a square like the rest of them."
What would Debbie's activist name be?
Deranged
just
Debbie.
Put you on the air.
I don't think they have them anymore. These days they're all called Emily Bottomley Smythe. Activists, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Posh.
Anyway, all great. I don't know whether there's anything more to say about that one, really. I just
Well, that's good then, because we can have a pause.
Loved everything about the Spider bit. We will get drinks. A little bit sad that Toya, had to be a bit wailing widowish again at the end of the week.
But she's crying because her husband's
Toya.
dead. Oh.
Do you think that she actually deserved the ashes?
Yes, it's hers. It's hers by law, surely.
I don't know. And if she said, Syra, you can have them, I don't really think she had any right to get, all high and mighty or get all huffety when Syra said I buried them. What did she think she was going to do with them? Turn them into a little pretty diamond ring?
What's the question? Who did she think?
What did she think Syra was going to do with Imran's ashes other than bury them?
Well, she would. I thought she was going to scatter them, to be honest.
Well, whatever. I mean, if she said you can have these ashes, sorry, it's no takesy backsies on ashes.
Syra said, "Oh, Toya said I could have them." I thought she was lying.
Oh well.
I don't know if she actually was. If I was supposed to think that or not.
No, I think she said she could have them. Maybe, I don't know.
Why don't they just break? They should have divided them in half.
If I was Syra, to get Toya off her back, I'd just have a little barbecue and then scrape out the underneath and say, "There you go, that's it." It smells
like chicken. It's not chicken.
Right. Are we going to pause for a little drink?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll be back in a minute. You won't even know we've gone.
You won't know we've gone, so I'm not going to put any music on or anything. So let's go and instantaneously get ourselves some refreshments. Whoa, when we're back, we got our drinks.
You just get a crack at me.
I was just doing it for a fact. I got what drink did you? Oh, you got a cider, did you? Of course you did. I've got a lovely virgin strawberry daiquiri here.
Oh yeah, from your birthday.
I forgot that we got these.
So from middle.
Yeah. We had a lovely little birthday event last weekend, didn't we? And we had lots of nice drinks.
Cheers to you.
Oh yeah, cheers. There you go, lovely.
You got a drink now.
I've got a drink. It's lovely. The other thing that was good for my birthday, I got some cool little framed pieces of Nintendo. I'll just say we've finally started to decorate the room that we're sitting and recording in. So I got some cool pieces of artwork there. But we also got a buttload of a bumload, an arse load of
I thought
photo
buttload
frames.
was referring to a barrel.
Oh no, probably is actually. It was like a water butt. We got a load of photo frames because our plans for our Coronation Street feature wall, which is going to be behind where we're sitting now, they're going, aren't they?
They're afoot.
They are afoot. We did some old school printing out of your photos, didn't we, last weekend? Some from our Coronation Street kind of journeys and everything over the last 10 years. We've ordered a few nice vintage shots on eBay. and Redbubble, some of which came through this week. We got some like really nice Pat Phoenix pictures and a lovely one of Pat and Philip Lowry together, and I'm really looking forward to putting them all together on the wall when we can.
Of us with curry people that we like, and as you said, we got them printed out, and we got them from Tesco, and went up to the kiosk, and there was a teenage boy there, and he was like, I don't know what's going on here, but there's pictures here, but then they're on paper, like not on a screen, and I don't know what's happened.
When I pinch them, they don't get bigger.
Oh yeah, I tried to zoom in because it's a bit small, to be honest, and I'm sorry, but I think it's broken,
that didn't happen.
Give you a refund.
Anyway, sorry, I digress. That's what happened when we go off and get drinks in the middle of it. It doesn't happen very often, but Gemma, I'm going to pass to you. You're one of your favourite characters, Audrey, the Love, Death and Roberts storyline.
And
do you love her, or do you just want her money?
I'll have whatever she's giving me. If she wants to put it in a trust, that's fine, but just let you know it gets complicated.
Oh gosh, yes. Trusts are complicated, we know from personal experience.
I don't have a trust. Monday, Gail and Stephen are preparing for Audrey to come home, and Gail is grateful for his help. Where's she been? Hospital? She's still in hospital?
Yeah, hospital from her bike falling incident.
Oh, the bike fell on her, yeah.
It's so fun. Sometimes I can completely forget what's happened the previous week. Like, what? Why was Toya and Spider in the paper? Oh yeah, the bin protest. What was wrong with Audrey? Oh yeah, she had a motorbike fall on top of her.
Is there a joke here about Audrey being the Weatherfield bike at a younger age? And I don't know. Anyway, she comes home and she says, let's all go to the pub to celebrate. And Gail's very wary and she's like, Ma'am, you're only having 2 G&Ts. Audrey's like, what buzzkill. Tell you what, Audrey's been a buzzkill her whole life.
No, Gail has.
Gail has, sorry. Yeah. They go to the pub and Audrey's like, I'll have an orange juice, actually. See, Gail, I'm not going to drink. Give her a big wine. Like, because that's what she is. She says. Elaine shows up, and apparently she's just gone to do a viewing on a house nearby. And me and you went,
Yeah, no, thank you, Elaine. We don't need to know that.
Right.
So she's sticking around, is
she? Oh, look, Abby's got...
Abby's just come and
Abby's
jumped
got
up on my
spider
lap.
webs all over her face.
She's been exploring.
Okay. Elaine's there, blah, blah, blah. And she's, then, what did she say? I can't remember. She's talking about going on holiday or something. And then Stephen's like, I live in Milan. That's where I live. And Audrey's like, oh, he's such a jet setter. He lives in Canada and Milan and he lives all around Italy. And then he starts showing her pictures of it. And she's like, oh, how wonderful. Oh, you're so well-travelled.
That doesn't go anywhere, does it? The rest of the story is more about Audrey being batty and rich.
Oh,
but,
I
the
can't
Stephen
wait.
and Elaine romance is bubbling away there.
I'm going to check in about half an hour to see if I've won the Euro Million.
Oh yeah, your Euro Million's quite big tonight, isn't it?
Oh, yes, please. You'll never hear from me again.
You entered it?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I made a very bad mistake.
What?
Because I hooked your card up instead of my card to pay for it.
That is a bad mistake.
And then I realised you can't pay out into somebody else's card.
Oh, so if you do win the Euro Millions, it's me that's going to be getting it. Oh, I see.
Which was a really rookie mistake.
And then so basically, if we win, you're going to be smarming up to me like David and everyone was to Audrey on Wednesday.
No, I'll urgently need us to go to the bank to open a joint account, and I won't explain why. And you won't know because you don't look at it,
I've got no idea, no.
Okay, on Wednesday, Audrey's going to update her will, and David is falling over himself to compliment her and give her tea and stuff. And then Sarah comes around with a big bunch of flowers.
It was almost a little bit out of character. It was very funny because, I mean, in my eyes, Jack P. Shepherd can do little wrong when it comes to comedy, but I think the way he was, smarming up to her was just, I don't know, I didn't think that he would lower himself to that, David.
Sarah comes around with a bunch of flowers for Audrey, but they're lilies and aggravate her sinuses. And then Lily draws her a picture. And then she says to David, you owe me that £5 note now. So it's all not working out too well. They go to the bistro.
It's all very blatant, isn't it?
And Audrey's eating the soup and she said it's bitter. And I've been thinking about this ever since. What could it have been? What soup is bitter?
Lemon soup.
Yeah, because some people say that bitter is sour and it's not. It's a different flavour.
I don't know then.
Anyway, she doesn't like it. What could it be? Write in and tell me. Because I keep thinking bitter melon, but I don't think that they had that in the bistro. Audrey says, you know what? you've done so well. I love you all. You're so successful in your life. I'm going to leave all my money to WARTS.
Callback.
I know, that was pretty good.
That's the first time in about 20 years that WARTS has been mentioned on Coronation Street, isn't it? Do you remember what it stands for?
Weatherfield Association of Retail Traders and stuff.
Yeah, that'll do.
What is it?
No, I think that's right. I think it's just the
not in
Weatherfield
stuff,
Association of
though.
Retail Trailers. And I think the S is the plural.
Oh, because there's more than one.
Yeah. So this is like a little, this is a business alliance that all the small businesses in Coronation Street
like
were in.
The Masons.
Well, yeah, it kind
Wasn't
of
it?
is a
Did
little
they have,
bit.
like, secret
No,
handshakes?
you're thinking of the Square Dealers,
Oh,
which was kind of the replacement for WARTS. I think WARTS was the more kind of normal. It's just a group of shopkeepers who look after each other, and then it kind of fell by the wayside a little bit in the mid-90s when they came up with the Square Dealers thing, which was Alf in the Square Dealers as well. I know that it had Fred. It had
Ashley was supposed to be.
It had Eric Furman. They swore Curly in one time.
That's right.
And that was a proper underground secret society Mason thing, didn't it?
It's silly.
And Fred would go up to people saying, "Do you deal squarely?" I say, "Do you deal squarely?" to try and get like deals or whatever off of people. But yeah, the WARTS was just a kind of genuine. It's a group of shopkeepers.
Right. Here's my question. How much do we think Audrey Roberts is worth?
I can't keep track of how much money people has got because, she was broke a few years ago, wasn't she? And then Archie left her that money, and then David and Nick stole it off of her, and then did she get it back? I don't even remember what happened. I don't think it really matters. I don't think Coronation Street needs you to be worried about things like that.
Excuse me, that's all I think about. Money and food.
How much money? If you could rob one Coronation Street character, who would it be?
I'm just really interested because she's got this big house, doesn't she?
Yes.
How much do you reckon that's worth now? It's probably worth
Brasmere Drive, that's going to be like
400,000.
Yeah, it's up north, isn't it? So it's going to be a bit cheaper. I'd have said 400,000 or 500,000 maybe.
And so, but she's also, does she still own? She owns Trim Up
North, yeah.
But that's a business rather than the premises, or does she own the premises? Because Coronation Street always gets this confused.
I don't remember.
And does she still own the salon?
I don't know. No, Debbie owns a salon now.
And so she doesn't own the flat?
No.
So she's probably worth about 600, 700 grand.
Oh, okay. So they get a decent payout then, wouldn't they?
And she's got her 2 kids, and then she's also gonna in the grandkids as well. So.
And that's very decent of her because most grandparents. I don't know. I wouldn't think it's necessarily the done thing for grandparents to give money to their grandchildren.
I
or
don't
a massive
think that's
chunk.
right.
I think they just give them to the parents.
No, that's not. That's just your family.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Most people would leave their grandchildren money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so yeah, would you say, like, I don't know, give maybe Gail and Stephen get 200 grand each?
Although actually, my grandma left me money in my will, didn't she? That's what we used to partly get married, actually. Thanks, Grandma. I forgot about that one.
Yeah, I reckon so. The kids are looking at, 50, 100 grand each, nothing to be sniffed at.
No.
So, interesting there. So, she tells them she's leaving all... So, this is the other question. I was like, how much is she worth? Because what is WARTS going to do with this? What are they going to do? This association of traders who seems more like, a back-scratching exercise than an actual society.
It's probably just full of old codgers, like retired shopkeepers now, isn't it?
They're probably just going to get a bunch of tankards engraved with their names on it and then pay for Weatherfield Precinct to have some tacky Christmas lights.
Yeah.
Probably. Anyway, so they're like, hang on a minute, Gran. Wait, don't you think that you should think about this again? And she says, oh, yeah, you don't love me. You just like the thought of getting your hands on my cash. And by the way, David and Nick robbed from me. And Sarah's a very successful businesswoman who incidentally has never invited me around her flat.
That was funny.
And that was really funny because Sarah's like smiling like and then...
Yeah, where Audrey's saying, very successful businesswoman, you got a lawyer for a husband, you got a very swanky flat, and then...
Which I've never been to. And I thought that was great because she's actually not a successful businesswoman. She just managed to not screw up enough that she gets made bankrupt.
Yeah, you said that during that scene they should have cut to Nick and David and Debbie all looking at each other, giving each other the side eye about very successful businessman. What are you talking about?
And they're like, what about the kids? What about the kids? And Audrey's like, well, I'm sure you'll look after them. I thought that was great too, because she's like, it's not my problem, Buster. Gail's a bit miffed, and Audrey says, look, you've made me feel like an invalid and a right burden, actually. And then she heads off in a snit. So David tells Sarah and Nick and Stephen that he's got a plan, so he goes and asks Adam for legal advice and tells him that Audrey's lost her faculties. And for some reason, Ken's there earwigging and says, actually, Audrey's entitled to give her money to whoever she wants. And David says, I want power of attorney. And Adam says that I'll need to speak to Dr. Gaddis to determine how batty she actually is. You're very audibly crunching ice here.
Am I? It's very nice.
Icy
it's
drinks
nice
are bad for podcasting.
Sorry, everybody. I'll put it down.
Um,
Even Abby was looking at me.
Yeah,
thinking, what the hell is going on
look.
there? She did.
Stephen tries to talk to Audrey in Victoria Gardens. She says, "Look, it was just a joke. I'm not going to give it to WARTS. Just a test to see how greedy they all were. I'm going to make them sweat a bit longer."
I know how they feel.
It's so funny when old people do this on TV shows. And they're like, I'm going to leave my money to the cat.
Didn't the Ken being pushed down the stairs storyline 5 years ago start with who's going to get Ken's money and Adam wanted it?
It's horrible, isn't it? It's so seedy.
Yeah.
Ugh. This is why everyone should be only child.
This is why you should never have any family dramas.
Be an only child of an only child like me, and it all comes straight funneling down all those riches. Nobody to fight with. Friday, David's in a grump after Audrey's decision, and he's like, she could at least give me the bloody barbers. And Shona's like, you're moaning about nothing here.
Shona was great, as per usual today.
She was brilliant again.
She's just enjoying watching them stressing over it. Like, she doesn't care whether they get any money or not.
There's a bit where she comes over and says to Audrey, I'm sorry, he is an idiot. Which I thought was great. Stephen comes round and he says, come to the Rovers later. So he summons Sarah, Nick and David, and they're all confused about why they're there. And then Stephen says, you guys failed the test, Audrey's scheme, just to see how greedy you were, and you need to reassure her that you see her as more than just a money pot. And then David's like, oh, this is all good because I actually did talk to Adam about getting power of attorney and maybe it's my fault. So he goes into the cafe to ask Ken for a favour, which I think is probably to keep his mouth shut.
Yes.
But Audrey is there and she already knows what he's up to.
Yeah, Ken's told her.
I also like Ken looking out for Audrey too, because like you said, he's been there.
Old friends.
He's like, yeah, I realise once you get to a certain age, all the vultures start circling and they're like, oh, Dad, do you really need to buy this cast iron frying pan, because they last 50 years. I think a Teflon one would be just good. It's good for you, isn't it? This one's got a 5-year guarantee. That's more than enough.
But it is Ken.
It's Ken.
I think he could make.
I'll outlive the cast iron.
Yeah, exactly.
David tries to apologise, but she says he's only there because he was caught out and get lost. And then this is when Shona apologises, and Audrey says, you don't need to apologise, maybe I'll leave it all to you. And Shona's like,
go on, that would be nice.
And then Audrey tells Ken, I'm not some mad old bat, I'm not putting up with my family treating me like a child anymore. So they all meet up again later, and she says, family's the most important thing in the world to me. Of course I'm going to leave them money, but I'm going to put it in a trust fund, and Stephen's going to be in charge of it. And she leaves, and then David's like, why are you in charge of it? You're not even going to be here? And Stephen's like, actually, I will be hanging around for a bit longer.
Yeah, to have a smooch with Elaine.
I mean,
presumably.
I'm going to be hanging around for a bit longer.
I'm going to be hanging around for a bit longer. I'm definitely Canadian. I haven't got much to say about this storyline. It was fine.
I'm totally going to be hanging around here.
This was just a kind of a fun bit of nothing storyline for me. I don't think there's any deep moral...
Classic family squabbling.
Yeah, it was really. It was nice to see. It's nice that Audrey's got lots of scenes.
Makes me sad. I'm not going to have loads of sycophantic young relatives fighting each other.
I'm
going to have somebody coming round for the Guide Dog Association going, you need this house when you're dead. No, you don't, do you?
Do you think that Audrey was being a bit cruel, making them sweat about the warts thing?
No, why not have fun?
Yeah, I agree. She was just fun, wasn't she?
Don't count your chickens as well. I don't understand why they assume that, for all they know, she could be in debt up to her eyeballs.
Did you think when she said she was giving it to WARTS that she actually was?
No. I thought she won't. In the end, she won't be.
Yeah.
If I was her, I'd jack it all in, go on a cruise for the rest of my life, like those people when we went on honeymoon. They just lived on a cruise ship for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, she'd love that.
Why not? Get drunk, and then when you die, they just chuck you overboard.
I wonder whether it will make the Platts be a little bit more mindful of how they treat dear Audrey.
Poor Audrey.
To be fair, I don't think that Sarah Lou deserves.
Yeah, but she's just an imbecile.
And even Nick himself, I don't think he's been trying to bleed her dry. Yes, he did steal from her, but it's mostly David who treats all of his family members like
he really
saying
takes
he trod on.
advantage. He really feels entitled, doesn't he?
Yeah. Okay, so the Tile Street storyline, talking about another. What was this storyline this week, Gemma? What are the deep themes of this story?
It gave me anxiety.
Oh yeah, what? Because of our roof that was done last year.
Never give people money up front. I was like, oh my god, we did that. And then they're saying, oh, a roof should only cost about £2.50. I'm like, oh my god, it was a lot more than that.
How much did they say the roof was? £4,000?
Well, he gave £3,000 to the scaffolder, which is not the most expensive part of the whole thing.
No.
And also, the scaffolding company is a separate company.
Mm. Well, this thing with about paying up front is also like with our decking a few months ago, wasn't it? Yep. Where we paid for a decking.
It was giving me flashbacks.
Did we tell this story on the podcast?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. We paid for our decking to be fixed.
Well, he said it had to be done. He had to pay in advance.
Yeah.
And then who was it today going, everyone knows you don't pay them in advance. I was like, you do sometimes. They ask you. We paid half
of our decking fees in advance, and then the guy just didn't turn up on the day we were supposed to do it, and he wouldn't pick up the phone, and we were like, it was a good was it about a week or so until we heard from him.
A couple of weeks.
Saying sorry, I nearly sawed my hand off.
I sawed my hand off. He literally, my mum came round because we weren't even in when he came eventually.
No, this is when we were in Manchester, wasn't it?
And my mum came round because she was going to look after the cat, and my mum's a lovely person and she chats to everybody, and she's like, she showed me his hand and it was horrible. Yeah. And the way she said this on the phone to me was vaguely accusatory, like she was mad at me for expecting him to clean, but it was like, I didn't know he hacked his hand off. I don't want to pressure wash the decking.
Yeah, so I don't know whether we've learned a lesson about this.
We haven't.
No. Anyway, so this story was very silly. Amy's really annoyed about the ceiling leaking onto her jeans at the beginning of Monday, because you remember a tile has fallen out of the roof.
Because that looked a bit like she'd been out on the town for a little bit too long and didn't make it to a loo on time.
So Steve says, well, it's Jacob's dodgy mate's fault, the guy who claimed that he'd fixed the roof a couple of months ago. Ed also has a go at Steve in Monday's episode. He's like, oh, this guy dislodged the tiles at my house as well when he fixed yours. So he demands that Steve get them fixed. And he's like, no, I'm not doing it myself. You didn't want me to do your roof when there's a problem, so you can find someone else to sort it. But eventually, the problem gets so bad that Ed decides to get out the ladder to fix his roof himself.
I think, unfortunately, if you live next door to a builder, you're basically morally obliged to get them to do any jobs you need that are building jobs. Yes. Otherwise, I would be a bit annoyed.
Oh, yeah, exactly. So while the lad is out there, Steve asks Jacob to go up there on the roof, and Jacob twigs it. He's scared of heights, which he finds absolutely hilarious.
So do you, because
considering that he used to be a builder back in a previous life. So Wednesday then...
No, he didn't. Steve was a builder.
Yeah, that's what I said.
In the same life he's in now.
In a previous iteration of his character.
No, it isn't.
Because he seems to change jobs every few years.
I know, but you make it sound like he was once played by a different man who was called Monkey Gibbons or something and climbed up roofs all the time, and that was his gimmick.
I like how you mentioned Monkey Gibbons as if it's the name you made up yourself, and there was actually a Coronation Street character called Monkey Gibbons.
Thank you for
I would probably be scared of heights as well if I was Steve and I saw my dad fall off of scaffolding onto a skip and then be paralysed for the best part of a year.
Just say he's got PTSD, get out of everything.
Yeah. So Steve's wants to get Jacob to do this, but he's got in the wrong ladder, and now Jacob's scared.
That was my favourite Wallace and Gromit movie.
What?
The wrong ladder.
It's the wrong ladder, Gromit. The wrong ladder. Steve says, well, I'm going to flippin' well do it myself then, and he grabs the mallet and he starts to climb, and then he thinks better of it. But luckily for Steve, when he's out doing his taxi later, there's a fare in the back there says, oh, my husband's a roofer. That's lucky, isn't it? Maybe he could do it. And she also comes on to Steve a little bit. Does anything happen with that? But she's like, oh, shame we're both married. Maybe in another life, eh? I don't know whether this is all supposed to be part of the scam because I can't say that I was
Who comes on to him?
The woman in the back of the taxi, I told you.
What taxi? I was drinking cider and
You're
thinking
drinking
about
your
my life.
cider and reading your phone. You didn't know what I was talking about. I don't know what you were doing when the episode
What's
was
going
on.
on? Oh.
There was a scene where there was a woman in the back of a
Just
taxi.
a random woman.
Coming on to Steve, weirdly.
Right, okay.
Because, you know, why?
not? Yeah.
And saying her husband's a roofer. So anyway, the best scene of this story by a county mile this week was Steve and Tracy at Speed Dial, where they're also, Ed and Aggie are also there on a different table, and Steve's just kind of smugly smiling at Ed because he's been able to find this other roofer, and so he doesn't have to use him. And Ed's like, what's going on?
They're not together, are they? They're staring across the room.
Yeah, staring across the room. And he tells Tracy about finding this roofer, and Aggie's and Ed's there saying
What's he looking at
he's
me
really
for?
freaking me out. He's staring at me, and Aggie says, just smile and wave back. You know he's not very bright.
I loved it when she said that.
That was brilliant line from Aggie. That was so good.
Great.
Very, very true.
Imagine having to live next to Steve McDonald.
Yeah, I know. But that's the thing with Steve, though. He didn't used to be this dense at all. He used to be very, very sharp.
I don't know.
in
I
his
think that
teenage
because he
years.
was better looking, people think he's more intelligent than he is.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
there's
don't know.
definitely a halo effect.
So anyway, this roofer comes along at the end of the episode and tells Steve it's going to cost $3,000, and he needs it up front. And Ed's like, "Well, I'm not going to have Ed fix my roof, so
Steve
fine." Steve says, "I'm not going to let Ed fix my roof, so yeah, you can have this, Steve. The $3,000.
You
Off
can
you
have
go.
this man.
Get it fixed on Friday, please."
So
However,
is this just going to be a series of people turning up and saying, "You owe me £3,000"
and
until he
Steve
runs out
falling
of
for
money?
it every time? Yeah, I think so. Whoops! I've just dipped into Ollie's fund here.
Oh well, that's
So-
all right.
Steve can't get hold of the roofer on Friday. He's not turned up, so it seems like there's a bit of a scam going on here. He's trying to reassure Tracy, who's getting understandably concerned
Bit
about
tense.
the fact that they've
Getting
paid out
flashbacks again, Michael. Getting
£3,000.
flashbacks.
Yes.
Not that we paid £3,000 for someone to clean our
Yes. So then the scaffolder turns up and he wants paying in advance as well. It's Steve says, "Look, I've already paid the other guy. I paid the roofer."
I don't understand this because Steve's a builder. He knows that the scaffolder and the builder are two different people, two different companies.
Yeah.
So why would, when he turns up to put the scaffolding out, it's like, "Who are you?" It's like, "I'm the scaffolding man."
I know. But anyway, the scaffolder says, "Well, if I don't do it now, if you don't pay me now, I'll just go home." So scaffolding's up later. So Steve's obviously paid for him as well, but he lies for a little while to Tracy and says that he hasn't. And then Steve's doing a bit of a David being smarmy to Audrey at the end of the episode, isn't he? Because he's trying to ply Tracy with the prospect of a date night, and he's like complimenting her hair and everything, and saying. And then he admits that the roofer's probably not coming. Plus, I did pay the scaffolder up front, so we're kind of screwed, aren't we?
Oh, whoops.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, the scaffolder can't be in on the scam because he wouldn't leave his stuff.
Very true. Just the roofer, then. Maybe it's some hopeful
Unless-
woman who goes around cruising the streets to take advantage of poor, unsuspecting taxi drivers who happen to need their roof fixing.
Well,
it's the only thing.
Once my pony dies, that's what I'll do.
Okay. Did you think anything about this story? Did you think it was as naff as I did? I didn't click with me.
Well, see, this is another thing of Coronation Street. It feels like it mirrors my own life, so I was very involved.
I was
like, do you really not ever pay anybody up front? Because sometimes you do. Because they got to buy materials,
I
Tracy.
just struggled to invest in this story, I have to say. But I did enjoy the bit, and I didn't know whether to say this as part of this one or the Audrey storyline. That conversation that Steve and Stephen had out on the street was really good, wasn't
a nice
it?
bit of
walking
colour.
past each other, going Steve, and then Steve, and then they just have a conversation. Are you Stephen with a PH or a V? Oh, a PH. Oh, a dying breed, Stephen. No, does he say Steves are a dying breed? And then they talk about their hero Steves when they were growing up.
I would have said that Steve with a V is probably more popular now.
I don't know, but that was a nice little idea.
I
Whoever
like that.
wrote that, surely that can't have been in any original plans for the episode, but it felt very much to me like the writer was like, "Oh, well, I've got Simon Gregson in this episode. I can't remember who plays Stephen Reed.
Steve McQueen.
Yeah, let's do that." So more little things like that would be cool, little crossovers and characters that have got nothing to do with each other, just having little chats about funny things.
Corey chit chat.
What's been going on over at Speed Dial, Gemma?
On Wednesday, Stu, sorry, got so excited about all these Steve's. Stu's a bit downhearted when Yasmin poo-poos his alternate ideas for coronings, which I thought was a bit
COVID-19.
I thought it was a bit rich of him to like say, look, Yasmin, I know, you know, it's your culture and everything, but curry names are boring. You know what I mean? So he also tells her he's a bit upset because the necklace he sent his daughter has been returned, and that's never happened before.
Yeah, so his daughter's the one that I kind of forgotten because it's been a while since the story was on, but he had this necklace. He told Yasmin that he's been corresponding with his daughter for years or something, but she's estranged.
Yeah.
That's right, but that's right, she never sends anything back, does she?
Yeah, but this time it's
actually been returned to him.
Because she's moved house and she hasn't updated her
that's right.
thing. And then Stu thanks Alia and Yasmin for their support and tells them to take the day off tomorrow so he can cover, and they accept. And then Yasmin says we should take the day to repay him.
Oh yeah, I thought
giving him the day off. What?
Yeah.
What? So you're going to spend the day doing work for him?
Well, and I was expecting today's episode to partially be them kind of on the hunt for this missing daughter.
But it's like, if somebody's giving me a day off to enjoy myself, I'm not going to spend my day hunting down their lost relatives like I'm Davina McCall.
Yeah, maybe the scene actually ended with Yasmin saying, I've got a plan, and then Alia saying, nah.
Can I just stop you there, Gran? I'm going to hang around outside Shuttleworth and see if I can attack and harass Toya. On Friday, Stu and Sedan are running speed dial all on their own. I like the way that she's like, you go, I'll look after this place by myself. I mean, I know that Sedan works here too, but I don't care if I burden him with extra work. Stu's there and he's got this hip flask and he keeps swigging from it. And it turns out he's so drunk at this point that he hasn't even done any prep. He hasn't put on any orders. He hasn't cooked anything. And Sedan only realises when Nina and Asha have been sitting and waiting and they haven't had their starters yet. So he carries on swigging away. And then eventually Sedan catches him doing shots with some of the punters, and so eventually he manages to clear up all this mess and give everybody food and get everyone out the door, and he confronts Stu and says, well, why are you doing this? This is a dry restaurant, you shouldn't be drinking at all. And Stu says, well, you'd be doing it too if you've been going through what I've been going through. And then later on, Stu tells him about his estranged daughter, and Sedan is very sympathetic.
Yes. I don't buy Sedan as a sympathetic character. He's just
going,
so gruff.
I don't care.
Just get on with your work, Stu.
My wife ran away with a woman and then got crushed to death by a roof. You don't see me crying about it.
I'm semi-interested in learning a bit more about Stu's backstory. I'm still waiting for him and Yasmin to hit it off though and get together. I thought this might be it. Maybe he's so full of emotion about how he's brought him together with her daughter that he gives her a good old snog. And then I can call the storyline "Oh My Darling," but with AA.
Oh my doll.
I'm definitely doing that.
You don't even like doll. You shouldn't be allowed to talk about it.
Yes, I'm not mental for lentils.
Do you think that Stu's daughter's going to be in the show? Or is she dead?
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think of that. Oh, is that why the necklace was returned?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like corpses don't wear necklaces.
I don't know, I hadn't considered that. That's probably the more dramatic option, isn't it, actually?
I can't remember. We need to bone up on what actually happened with Stu.
I know.
I can't remember. It's like
as
Stu,
I said, I have been a bit busy this week.
Stu's like, oh, daughter, blah blah. And me and you're like, well, I don't remember.
Every time that there's a story going on in Speed Dial, it just doesn't work. And consider it is a shame because Shelley King's fantastic, and it doesn't work for me. No, and Shelley King's fantastic, and that coercive control storyline was amazing, but it's just not been fun what's been going on in the Speed Dial since, unfortunately. But I have high hopes for Yasmin and Stu because I do like them.
High hopes,
yes.
He's got high hopes.
You want to get me the karaoke machine out for you now? Right, we're nearly there. We have got just the summer holidays storyline, and then we had about 3 scenes of this. So apparently Aaron's good at mechanics, everybody. So
Aaron.
Yes, he gives Kevin some advice about fixing the car. Kevin's like, hit your nose out, you
it's
lanky
like, I work
freak.
here, you idiot. Why do you think I'm wearing that overalls standing in a garage?
And then it turns out, what do you know, that Aaron's advice was right. And Kevin
you're
says,
right. The flange was on backwards.
You can have a tried and tested, classic Corrie trial period here at the garage. And Aaron says,
tried realigning the gaskets?
Yeah. So, but with all this money Now he and Summer won't have to hang around at the beach in bikinis all day.
Thank God for that.
One of them in a bikini. Aaron can wear what he likes.
He can wear. Maybe he'll be like what's his face? Who played James Bond? Daniel Craig, when he comes out of the river and out of the ocean wearing pants.
I think he's going to wear a mankini.
Why not?
Yeah. Anyway, they can do whatever they want now because he's got a job. I don't think we need Aaron in the garage. They've already got Kevin, Abby, and Tyrone working there, haven't they?
They've only got room for 2 cars at a time.
I know. I don't know what they're expecting him to do, but it definitely looks like Aaron's getting his feet under the cast carpet, isn't he? He's going to be sticking with Coronation Street for a little bit, and they've got to give him some job. So whatever, if that's what they want to do with him. Okay.
I just want to say, I feel like I have stirred up some controversy with my stance on beach holidays, because we had quite a few comments from people defending their choice.
We did, didn't we? Yeah.
For their vacuous pastimes of sitting and doing.
We had some people saying that they agreed with you, and some people saying, "No, I love a good beach holiday, me."
But I just wanted to say that this is not the first time that I have grossly misrepresented myself on this podcast, and it certainly won't be the last. But I'm going to instruct my lawyers to sue anybody who dares to say I do not like the shore or the seaside, because I do. I just don't like sitting on the beach.
Yeah, there's a difference.
And in fact, I am one of the least landlubbers that you'll ever meet.
You're very unlandlubbery.
I always eat. I rarely ever eat anything that lives on the land. I'm always eating seafood.
Are you?
Yes, I am. I always do, and I only hunt. I only eat seafood that I hunt myself. Now, some people might call it fishing, but I don't call it fishing because I only eat things I kill in hand-to-hand combat.
Fish don't have hands.
Well, they don't when I'm finished with them.
Although, where do fish fingers come from?
Exactly. Explain that.
Right, Gemma, we've reached the end and I'm literally dropping off to sleep here, so I think I'm ready to score the week and then maybe call it a day for today's podcast. Sorry, everybody who's expecting a longer one. I'm going to... I enjoyed the wedding storyline. Mimi and Evelyn were just wonderful this week, and the spider stuff was still fun. I think that filling up bits of this week with the Steve doing his roof tiling and all the stuff at the speed dial, that didn't hit it right for me. But I'm gonna give this one 3.5 years of ball crushing emasculation out of 5. What about you, Gemma?
I enjoyed it. I like a wedding. I thought it was really nice. It felt like, when we were talking about Toya and Imran's wedding, we were saying, it's really great that we've got lots of more people. It feels a bit more like a proper wedding. Yeah. Again, they've pushed it a bit further again.
I'm a bit sad for Toya and Imran that they didn't get the big barn.
No.
Oh well.
But
too late now.
I enjoyed the wedding. I thought Jen McAlpine looked absolutely radiant,
really nice,
as Fiz getting married. I could not have been more happy with the karaoke scenes with Mimi and Evelyn. It was like, this is Christmas. I'm going to give it 4 broad Mancunian vowels, which is good because there's actually technically only 5.
Can you give me 4 broad Mancunian vowels?
Ow! All together. Ow!
I don't think that sounds quite right, but I'll let you off.
That's how you say them all together.
Oh, I see.
Ow!
Character of the week. Gosh, I think... I don't know whether it's Evelyn or Mimi. I don't know.
I'm going to give it to Mimi. I've got to give it to Mimi. I love her so much. She's so funny. Oh, dear Fiz, I'm fond of you.
I'm going to give it to Evelyn then, just for her reactions to Mimi and for kicking her crutch and this so karaoke funny. Scene. They both were just right up our street, honestly. Love them both. And that's it.